Hey everybody, Joan from Britical Saiyans here, and today I'm going through Raditz because this was the build I was hoping to take to Salford, but yeah, wasn't able to go, so which sucked, but still had to prepare something, so I prepared Raditz. It's quite similar to what we've done before on the channel with Raditz, but I'll go through it all again because it's what we do. So Raditz has an auto that stays the same on both sides. So when he attacks the lead card, your opponent chooses a card from their hand and sends it to the warp. So like on both sides he does that, doesn't change, you don't draw from him, which kind of sucks, so you just try and keep draw power and search power where you need it. He does have an active main. Once per turn you can look up to 5 cards from the top of your deck. You can choose a red or green, Raditz, Vegeta or Nappa, add to your hand, shuffle your deck, and then you ditch a card if you added one. But yeah, don't run any of them. Well, I run Raditz actually, so I could be doing that. I should be doing that, but I'm not.
Doing what?
I can search Raditz.
What?
I can search a Raditz with Raditz. I totally forgot that. Because I have a Raditz that I could search off Raditz.
Okay.
I just never do it. Because I'm so used to not having a search target that I just don't try. I got Vegeta in here as well. Bloody.
Wait, what can you actually search?
Raditz, Vegeta or Nappa.
With what specifications?
Red or green.
Just colour.
Yeah.
So you can search out your super combos.
Well,
Or they're GT.
They're GT.
Oh.
But yeah, I've also got Vegeta I can search. So here on Britical Saiyans we like to not know our leader cards correctly, clearly.
Just once per turn, activate main, is it?
Yeah.
And that's it, just searches out card.
You look at top 5, search a red or green Vegeta, Raditz or Nappa, add to your hand. If you had one, ditch one. It awakens, you get one energy back, you don't draw from it. So yeah, perceptions on smartness here. So yeah, like I said, also stays same, attack, opponent sends one to the warp. And then his active main is once per turn, you can choose a red or green Saiyan card in your battle area and give it 5k for a turn. So, obviously quite handy. There are some Saiyans in here, but that's not the main point of the deck. So, going to the extra cards, we have 3 copies of Double Sunday. So, it's active battle. If your leader is Raditz, it gains 15k for the battle. And then you can choose one of your opponent's battle cards, then it costs 2 or less and KO it. So I went just in there as like a bit of combo power, and being able to pop something is really handy. So yeah, it's just a 1 cost 15k combo on your leader. Can't go wrong with that really. If you kill something, you kill something, which is pretty nice. So next we got 2 of the Shocking Death Ball. So to counter, if you leads green, you negate the attack, and then you can choose up from one of your opponent's battle cards, energy cost 2 or less, and KO it. So kind of like the Double Sunday where you get to pop something. The plus side of this is, it activates on Sparking 5, so you take a card from your life instead of paying the cost. And yeah, it's just there because it could be a free negate that kills something, so nothing wrong there. The other negate in the deck is 2 copies of the Rifle Charge. So again, if it is green, negate the attack, and then you can place one of your battle cards into the drop, and then your opponent ditches a card. So you get around barrier on your own stuff because it's not your opponent targeting it. But the main thing is you're able to take a card out of their hand by getting something you don't need. So, or if they're just going to target it down anyway, you can be like, well, I'm going to save myself the hassle and just get rid of it to make a ditch card. So, plain and simple. For 1 counterplay, we have a Hidden Power of the Saiyans. So, if your leader is green, your opponent may place the battle card they are playing into their drop area instead of playing it. If they don't, your opponent ditches 2 cards from their hand instead. So they can either just straight up not play what they're going to play, or dump 2. So, kind of like Preemptive Strike, which I also run one of. So Preemptive Strike is, if the card your opponent's playing is cost 4 less, it goes to drop. Preemptive Strike doesn't give them a choice, it just goes, but it has a limited range. Hidden Power Saiyans can hit anything, but your opponent can save the card, so I just kind of like it because of hand destruction and non-specific targets, whereas this is just a straight up get rid. So, both are handy. And finally, for the extra cards, we got 2 of To Save a Hopeful Future. So this is just active main. You choose up to one bring green battle card, energy cost 5 less than you drop, and you play it. Which there is easily a target for, because this is Raditz Maidens, so you can target Brians and whatever else you need with that. So going into the battle cards now, and starting with the 1-drops, we've got 2 copies of Newfound Power Gohan. So it's just a little bit of Self-Awakening in the deck, and it's another Saiyan. So when he attacks, you can choose a card from knife out to your hand. If you do, he gains critical and 10k for the turn. So obviously you put that on top of the power routes can give it, and it can be a 20k crit, which is really useful. And like I said, it's Self-Awakening, so it's just another option to do stuff to your opponent. Next, there is 3 copies of Raditz Ruthless Adversary. I'll not tie up my tongue saying that. So, if your leader is Raditz, when you play this card, you can choose one of the following effects. You can either draw 1 card for every 2 non-black cards in your opponent's warp. So obviously when you're attacking with your leader, you send the cards to their warp. Even if they negate, something goes to the warp. So when that builds up enough, you can just be like, well, I'll pay 1 and draw a bunch of cards. Or your other option is you can choose a card from your life, add to your hand, and then choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards, and then just cost 1 and KO it. So if they've got a pesky 1-drop out, you can just take a life and pop it. But on the other side, if you've awakened, you can just draw up. Which is handy because the lead doesn't draw, so you need some draw power. And that's an option. Next, we got 2 copies of Urgent Aid Kami. So, its first auto is when you play it, you draw 1. And the secondary auto, once per turn, and the reason we have it is when your opponent switches an energy to active mode using a non-awakened skill, during their turn, you choose up to 1 of your opponent's energy and place it in the drop. So, if they use something like Sensu Bean or a card effect to untap an energy, you can just be like, right, well, that wasn't awakened, so get rid of it. So that's usually the case. You just get rid of whatever they untap. If they untap 1. So, it's just handy to have. And the final 1-drop is Zabuto Maiden Attendant, which is just, when you play it, you look at the top 3 cards, you choose up to 1 Universe 2, add to your hand, shuffle your deck. So search out the Universe 2, which is what all the Maidens are. And we do have a couple other Universe 2 cards in here, so siphons them out for us as well. So next we go on to the 2-drops. And starting off, we've got our super combos, which is 2 copies of Defensive Stance Vegeta and 2 copies of Ever Dependable Bulma. So Vegeta is, well, it's a GT Vegeta, so the leader can't search it. He works on Sparking 5, so if you've got 5 more in the drop and your leader's green, you draw a card from him, and he's 10k base anyway. Bulma, on the other hand, when you combo with this card, if your leader is a Shenron or a Green Saiyan, and your life is at 5 or less, you draw and she gains 10k combo power. I run this just because I wanted a life-based one, and in my opinion, if you're playing a Green Saiyan and using a life-based super combo, you're better off just going with Bulma. Like, there are some of the base of 10, which I get, they're useful, but you can get utility out of this quicker, so it's worth it, in my opinion. but each their own. So next we've got 4 copies of Girl Warrior Beyond the Shuttle. So it's a 10 drop, well 2 drop 10k with barrier, and when you play this card you look at 7 cards from the top of your deck, choose up to 1 main squadron among them, add your hand and shuffle deck. So anything like Brian based or Rosie or Kakunsa, I think's the last one, they're all main squadron, including this one. So any of those 3 you can search out, add to your hand, and you get to look at top 7, so you're more likely to see a target. The only main squadrons in here are just the evolutionary lineup of Rebian, so you can only search out her other forms in this copy, but it's worth it, and you need the 4 to evolve, so hence we run 4. Next we got 4 copies of Rabana Maiden Attendant. So he's a 5k blocker, but his permanent is if you have a Universe 2 in your battle area, you can play this card without paying its cost. So it's also a free blocker, which is quite handy, and it means you don't need as many negates because you can have up to 4 free blockers, so just as good to an extent. But that's the thing, it's a Universe 2, it's easy to play out, and it's free blocker, so it's just worth kind of having in. And finally in 2 drops we've got 2 copies of Tactical Victory Vegeta. So he's a 2 drop 15k, and his auto is when you play his card, you choose up to 1 field card in your opponent's battle area and place it in their drop area. So field removal. I run the 2 because I did have a vanilla Goku in here just as a beat stick, but for preparation for the tournament and just general deck improvement, it was worth having the Vegeta because he has an effect, so if I can use it, I use it. If not, then he's slightly weaker than the Goku was, but I can still get utility out of him because of my leader, and I can search him. So it's worth having in, especially just for the field removal, because a lot more decks require fields now, so this guy should be cropping up a lot more. Even if it's just a side deck piece, you're more likely to see it now. So yeah, we've got 1 card for the next few things. So our free drop of the deck is 4 copies of Energy Power Go Tanks. So it's free drop 15k, and when he attacks the lead card, your opponent chooses a card from their hand and places it in the drop area. So technically not discarding, but it kind of is. So yeah, this is just in as hand destruction, and again it's a Saiyan, so our Awaken effect can just give it 5k, making it more of a threat. But it's just good to have that nice option of attack, and even if you negate, you're losing a card, so it's just a nice pressure unit, and because it only costs 3 to play out, it's not difficult to do, so it's worth running. For 4 drops we have 2 copies of Infernal Villainy Cell, one of the pseudo super combos of the game. So he's got 20k in a crit, but when you play a combo with him you draw a card. So it's purely in there just to be comboed, give a bit of draw power, but if you end up playing him out then it's not bad because you can just play him out, draw 1, combo him during your opponent's turn, or just apply a bit of crit pressure, whatever takes your fancy. I just run it in there as a draw, so as would most people. So now moving on to the final bit, the maiden part of this deck. For the 5 drops we've got 4 copies of Main Squadron Leader Rebrian. So it's got 25k power. You can evolve for 3 energy, 2 green and 1 colourless, on top of the Brian de Chateau. because of different character names. So, and it has 2 autos. So the first one is when a card evolves into this card, you can choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards and KO it. And then its secondary auto is when it attacks, if Kukunsa and Rosie are in play in your battle area, you choose up to 2 cards from your opponent's hand and place them in the drop. I don't run the other Maidens, so the second auto doesn't take effect in this build. Mostly because they are quite annoying to get out, and it means I'd have to run more Universe 2 stuff, so it just basically becomes Universe 2 Raditz, which I just want to focus on the hand structure part. It's like, well, I only need Rubian to do that, so I'm only going to bother with Rubian. So that's what I did, and it just works out fine. So, and then the last card of the deck is 4 copies of our 7-drop Rubian Transformation Complete. So it has 30k power. It's an EX evolve for 1 green on top of this card, because it just says Rubian with an edge cost of 5 or more. At the moment it's just this, or you can put it on itself, not that you're likely to. And again, like the other one, she has 2 autos. So the first one is when you play this card by evolving it on top of the main squadron leader, you switch it to active, which means you can still attack with this and then evolve, restand into this one. And then its secondary auto is when it attacks, you choose up to 2 cards from your opponent's hand and place them in the drop. So you just do like a blind pick 2, make them discard it. And the fact that it's just 30k double strike hurts on top of that, because if they can't negate or don't negate, you're taking 2 combo pieces out potentially, and then you just throw your own in and force that pressure. So for the side deck, before I forget to do it, I went with this as a funsy deck. Didn't plan to be like, oh, I'm going to make this like super powerful and meta as possible. It's just, I want to play something fun and funny, so I'm going to play Raditz Maidens because no one really expects it. So I ran 2 little engines as my side deck instead of the usual thing of, oh, let's put this card to combat this and this card to combat this. I was like, nah, bugger that. So my one little engine is a green-yellow. So you got Annalisa, the Soaring Colossus. So he's got the opponent of, if there's another green-yellow multicolored card in your energy, you ignore energy exhaust on this guy. And then it's active battles once per turn. You choose 1 green or yellow multicolored card in your hand, place it in the drop, and then you choose 1 card in your opponent's combo area and place it in the drop. So it kills combo just like the other Annalisa. It comes out quicker, but chances are you're not going to play it because it's just charge fodder most of the time. There is 2 copies of Super Saiyan Broly All Out Assault. So this guy has 25k power. He has Arrival green yellow by paying 1 green 1 yellow. So obviously when you combo a green card and a yellow card, or a multi card like this, you can tap the 2, play him out. And then his auto is when you play this card, or when it's switched to active mode by a skill during your turn, you get to choose one of the following. So you can either choose a battle card with an energy cost greater than or equal to your opponent's current energy and KO it, or you can draw a card, then choose up to one of your opponent's cards and switch it to rest mode. So it could be an energy, it could be a battle card, it could be the leader. You just put it into rest. And then you have a 25k beat stick, which again can be given power thanks to our leader. And the reason I have these 2 in is to go into this guy. So we have a Super 17 Hellstorm Unleashed. If you can hear that, like, I want to say clicking, it's more like typing noise. There's a guinea pig slowly drinking water behind me, and instead of just gulping it in one go, it decides to do it in parts. Thanks, honey. It's the only time I say that around here. Anyway, so yeah, Super 17 Hellstorm Unleashed. So it's a 9-drop 30k power. It has critical, obviously energy exhaust. It has successor for 2 green and a yellow. So you'd send off green, yellow, or the multicolours to add up to 9 to play them out. Which is why we have Brody in, because he just makes up a good chunk of that. And we have the analyzer in just to charge up so that we have the yellow. And it's just a funsy engine. So there's 2 effects as well. His first auto is when you place a card, you choose cards from your opponent's life and place them in the drop until they only have 4 left. So if they are above 4 by whatever amount, they might have stalled out to stay on 7 or they're on 5. Doesn't really matter. You can just be like, right, well, let's put you down to 4 straight away. And then his other auto is when this attacks, you can draw a card and then choose up to 2 of your opponent's cards and switch them to rest mode. So I went with one of this because I had the one, and like obviously in side deck you gotta think about your spacing, and I've got 2 different engines in here. So I was like, well, you know, I'll just have one of this and 2 Brody. If I can go into them, then yay for me.
Should nickname them Thomas and Percy.
Yeah, it's just fun. One of my ideas for the deck, well, side deck. So my other side deck engine is a green-blue. So we have 4 of the 17 Wildlife Protector. So he is kind of similar to Analyzer, and they are both the charge followers of their multicolours. The difference is his combo disruption is different. So auto once per turn, when your opponent combos, choose up to 1 of those cards and place it at the bottom of the owner's deck. Then you negate this skill for a duration of game. So if you play one out, it can't do it again, but your second one can, and so on. But like Analyzer, it's just mostly here to be charged so that you can play the other stuff. So the big thing of this engine is the 2 copies of Android 21 The Bad Omen. So it's 5.25k. It has an active main of you pay 2 blue and 2 green to players from your energy area. And then its auto is you choose 1 card from your energy and place it in your drop. Then when you play this, you choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards and up to 1 card in your opponent's life and place them in the drop area. So I just ran this as like a little burn engine, because if my opponent tends to go down to low life, or I can easily aggro them to low life, I could be like, well, you know what, I'm going to put this in the deck, and then when I do that again, I'm just going to pay the 4, take 1, or just take 2, and then hopefully just kill them from doing that. So, but yeah, it's just a nice little funny engine to have. They probably won't expect it when you side deck. They'll be like, oh, you just go put a load of count stuff in. It's like, actually no, I'm just going to put a burn engine in, because bugger it, if I'm here all day I may as well do something fun. So, and as is tradition with having blue in the deck, there is 2 copies of Senzu Bean. So active battle, choose up to 1 of your cards, against 5,000 power for the duration of the turn, and then you choose up to 2 of your energy and switch them to active. Just in there it's defensive, and because it obviously goes in with this slot, so it means I can use it to power up my lead when they're attacking, or to give something power when I'm on the attack, and it just makes more use out of the blue. Besides charge up until you can do 21 and kill them. It just kind of gives it more of a purpose. So, but yeah, like I said, 2 engines just for fun, because it was going to be a long day. But yeah, there you go guys. So that is my Raditz deck profile. As always, leave your thoughts in the comments below, because they're fun to read. Let me know what you guys took, because I didn't get to go, so I'd like to know what was being played outside of like matchups and the statistics. And yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.